Record. Welcome back to the Ultimate Homeschool Community Podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Hernandez. Today, I am super excited to have JoAnn with me. And JoAnn and I are embarking on some collaborative opportunities for you. So you're going to want to stay tuned to hear what those are all about. But welcome, JoAnn. So glad to have you on the show.
Thank you, Tiffany. So glad to be here. Just want to give you a little bit of background about myself. I um, am, was a homeschool mom. I homeschooled all four of my children and started many homeschooling programs and then moved into the microschool arena and started a microschool back in 2014. And all while owning another business, my summer camp business, and then was able to merge those two and to create a six-figure income. And now I have multiple camps and multiple schools across the United States. And I am excited to share my story with you.
Yes, we are super excited and we'll get into the juicy details a little bit later, but I just want to ask a few questions and we have a free workshop coming up which talks about our summer camps and we'll get into that too in just a few minutes. You mentioned you started out as a homeschool parent, which I feel like a lot in the microschool world do end up going from that parent who is homeschooling their kids like, oh, I could do this for a couple more kids and make a school out of it. Um, a lot of times we see, oh, I can't do that because, I don't have an educator degree. So I don't know if we can like just touch on that because we've had a few ask, well, can I even join the workshop? Because I'm not an actual educator. I'm just like, I teach or like I'm an assistant, but I don't have a certificate of teaching.
Well, I think that's a great question. I don't have a degree actually at all. I did go to school. I went to school for, I started out with psychology and youth ministries, ended up getting married, and then ended up changing everything, trying to go through a fast track program. So I changed to organizational management. And then by the time I had my second child, I had stopped and never finished. I am an undegreed entrepreneur. And I think those are the best kind, actually, because they don't fall into those boxes that everybody else gives them. I also really, really believe that being an educator doesn't mean a piece of paper. I have a love and a passion for learning. And I want and I need to have that connection in the classroom or just even with people. I want to connect with them and that it's natural for me to do that in my education or in my summer camps where I've been in the past. So that question, no, you do not need to have a degree. You need to have a passion and you need to want to. Not
Right.
everybody's cut out to be in the classroom. I'll be honest with you. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And you have children that want to push back, and you have to be incredibly creative and you have to think on the fly. But if that sounds like you and you love doing that kind of stuff, then this is for you.
Right. I love what you're saying there because I too, now I went to school for something completely different. But I have had a love for education my entire life, a love for just like children's ministry and education. And I too will say and agree that passion is everything. And not everybody's passionate about the same thing, which is why it's great that we have such a flexibility and a freedom within micro schools to really make it fit not only for what we're looking for, but for like our own community, our own village, which I'm super excited to share about um, while we're talking about our workshop and everything, what we're working on with our community. And so with that, we have a wide range of abilities within the educator space. Some are neurodivergent, they carry several certificates, not only in education, but also for psychology or behavioral analysis. And they're wanting to make an impact, they're wanting to make a change. And the whole reason why we're coming on here and sharing about this is because that one little effort, that one little spark that you have to go and maybe take this really can create a ripple effect, which is what we're seeing right now. JoAnn, you were able to have what you needed for your own family, and then you've been able to expand that, right?
Yes, agreed. Um, so years ago, I like to tell the story. Years ago, my husband left, and when he did, he left me and my four children, and I had to figure things out. I was that stay-at-home mom who homeschooled her kids. So what do you do, right? And I was thankful, that he, helped with child support, but at the same time, we were, counting nickels and dimes and trying to figure out how to do things. So what came natural to me was teaching. And so I did. I started teaching after school classes. I started to, do little things here and there. I even started in-home daycare. All of those things worked. Um, but, they were that paycheck to paycheck kind of a situation. And I knew that eventually, you know, as my kids got older, support would go away. So there had to be something that had to happen. And it was actually by happenstance. I had always dreamed of having um, a homeschool center that had summer camps and classes, and I was really moving towards that. And when I was given the opportunity, I started teaching summer camps, and it was really because parents were wanting robotics, and I was a robotics coach, a Lego robotics coach. And I thought, well, why not do classes? And then it just naturally led into summer camps. And the first year, it was, about 15, $1,000. And then the next year it doubled a little bit more and it came around about $40,000. And then the year after that, it was closer to 90,000, and then it went to 210. And I just was like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And um, I was then able to not only take care of my family, but I was also able to, give jobs to all of my homeschool mama friends and their kids. And it was like the best of all worlds. And I kept moving forward. And then I thought, okay, what does a homeschool mom do after her kids leave? Well, the logical thing is open up a micro school, right? Open up a school. And so I did. I was one of the first in the nation to open up an Acton Academy. And within 2 years, we shut down. We were not making it. We shut down, shut the doors. And I still had my summer camp business, but we weren't able to do it. So I met with another person, and she was really intrigued, and she was like, "What do you need to keep this open?" I'm like, "I need a business partner and I need a building." And she said, "You got it." And we ran with it. And she also did camps, but she was in the film industry for camps. I was in the tech area of camp. So we merged really well. She was more arts and I was more, coding, and we were merging and we were, being, very creative in that. But our our micro school still struggled. It and anytime you have a brick and mortar, it struggles. When you do a summer camps like the way I do it, you don't need a building. You're mobile and you go to other people's places. So that's the beauty of it. But we struggled and we struggled, and then we finally decided to merge in 2019 all of our businesses, and we became Esteem EDU. And then after that, I became the director of operations of the summer camps, and she became the head of school and director for our schools. And then we added some schools to that. We have one in Tampa that we are a part of, which is the Apollo Academy. And then we have summer camps there as well. So that's kind of like my story in a nutshell, keeping the momentum moving forward. And so what I do and what I know to do is summer camps. And I know that they can help micro schools. But you don't have to be a micro school owner to do it. You can be a homeschooler to do it, because that's what I did.
Right.
There you go.
I love
Come and
that.
join us.
I am so glad to have you come on here and share about this opportunity, because I feel like, yes, there are a lot of micro schools, and this is just the reality, that end up struggling because the nation does not they do not value education as it should be. They value education based on societal norms and standards from the public education system, which if that's what you need, that's what you need. And you could still, if you are a public school student parent, if you have a public school student and you're just a parent of a student, you could still do this in the summer. Or if you're a public school
Yes, you can.
teacher, you could still do this in the summer and add to your, because a lot of times it's like half pay or, 3/4 pay or whatever for the summer months. And so we always have teachers looking for things to do in the summer. So even if that's you, you can absolutely benefit from this. Just touching back on what you said about the location, a lot of microschools struggle to find locations that will allow them to be there because they're like a quasi school. They're more of a learning pod. They're more of like a group with multi-age instead of a school. And if that is the case where you're like, I can't find one, there's a lot of other opportunities for you to run this program or to just run summer camps in general without needing a location of your own. So I just want to make sure I touch on that because I know that's always been a big issue for several microschool founders. And it's not to say that all microschools are failing because they're not. Some are very much well off and they're doing really well for whatever industry they're in. And that's why this is like, okay, if you're ready to scale, if you're ready to grow more, have more growth, and still impact a totally different generation or different population and see if they're even interested in coming, this is how you can do that. And those summer camps have such a wide net of people who need them versus people who just want them.
Mhm. Yep, agreed, agreed. And I think too, giving back to your community, that's the biggest part of all this as well. You're going to build your community, you're going to give back because parents need you. They um, need summer camps and they need something that is safe and educational for their children, not just some daycare again, but something that keeps the momentum going. So yeah, I totally agree.
Yes.
And yes,
So right, exactly. And I want to preface and say, this maybe doesn't fit everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. It's not for everybody. It's for those who are really serious and are like, yes, I could see this working for me. I'm either interested in these kinds of things. The other thing that JoAnn does do, if you are looking to start your own kind of summer camp program, is offer coaching for getting your own program started with using your not completed but totally important or organizational skills from college, right? And so I want to say, we always come around. I would say the best thing about homeschool parents in general is that we're very resourceful and we find ways around things and we're very
yeah.
creative, which is what we're all about with the workshop that we have coming up. And then the cohort that is coming very soon. So we just want to give that preface to say if this sounds like you, if you like to finagle things and make things work, we've got you covered. So the last thing that I would
Yeah.
love to for everybody to understand is just like why should they even care? I mean, we already gave a few points, but why should they care? Maybe they're like, oh, I've done summer camps, like I've already been successful with them. Great. So maybe this isn't for you. But the people who are interested and are like, yes, I really think I want to do this, but I'm just a little hesitant because I don't know where I'm going to put my own kids, or I don't know, like there's so many unknowns. What would you say is why they should care about the workshop and the cohort?
Well, the workshop is actually a ton of information and a lot of questions. And when you start off, I mean, I always tell people because people have come to me for years and years just to talk about business in general, because they saw me and they saw my success and they're like, okay, how'd you do it? Um, I've helped others, to start their businesses. But one of the things that I think is important for anybody that is the ability to serve others and to serve your family. I think that's pretty much the biggest key there. I in our workshop, you'll see that there's like I said, a lot of questions, and it's my model, and it just talks specifically about the things that you need to know, the curriculum, the research, the how to price things, the systems, logistics, the marketing, the staffing, all that stuff. That's a lot of stuff. And when you think of it, it's crammed, all into summer camps. And if you are a teacher, you're having to do this in the evenings. And if you are a homeschool mom, you are having to do this also in the evenings because you're spending all that time with your kids. So knowing that obviously it's not easy, but what I'd like to do is like to say you take a couple of hours every day and you do what needs to get done, and it makes it happen. And then you just rinse and repeat the next year. And the other beautiful thing is that there's usually a chunk of time in your year where things are just really crazy because you're gearing up for summer camps. But then after that, you exhale and you breathe and you go on that vacation. Or, for some of us, we're getting ready to go back into the schools, whatever it is. But I did create that cadence for myself. And I think that's the other thing, is that you get to create that cadence for yourself. Summer camps can be incredibly profitable. Um, and I mean, with just 12 students, if you do the math quickly, at $300 a week, you're looking at $3,600 in weekly revenue. Now, granted, that's gross, but that's $3,600 a week. When you times that by, let's say you do 6 summer camps for the total of summer, that's $14,000 for that one summer. You're only doing 6 weeks of camp, or you're doing 2 camps, 3 weeks. It depends on you. And then you've got the rest of the time to do whatever you need to do. So again, you can create your schedule, you can create what works for you and your family, and you can go take those vacations. But who can't use, an extra $10,000 in the summer?
Right.
And so, and so
Yeah,
that's why I do it, but so that is, I think, one of the biggest things. Yeah.
absolutely.
How about did I answer the question?
Yes,
'Cause I'm
absolutely.
like,
Why should they care?
okay,
Because it's extra money in your pocket. And
extra
who
money
doesn't
in
want
your
extra money
pocket.
for Christmas or for whatever,
Right.
like, rainy day fun?
Exactly.
I love the fact that this is so creative in terms of you're getting to do flexibility on around your schedule. Um, can you do it with littles in tow? It is a little bit harder, but hey, if you have a nanny, watch them with you while they're there with you, that's also possible. So there's a lot of possibilities to work around the schedule and your needs. So with that said, we are really looking forward to gearing up this fall. So, our first founding cohort is coming up. If you are one of those people that would like to join or want to know how, definitely join our workshop. And JoAnn will be sharing all the nitty-gritty details there as well. Where can they find information on this? Because I know a lot of times it can get lost or stuck, or people don't know where to go. We put stuff in the show notes, but what would you say? Where's the best place for them to find information?
So campmentor.com. We're just launching the website, so please be kind. So we work out all the details and we we look back at it, but it's called Camp Mentor, mentor.com. And that's exactly what it is. I'm here to mentor you in building your camps.
Absolutely.
Um, and again, if it's just one camp or if it's, 16 summer camps. I mean, currently now we do over 30 plus camps, sometimes in
A
one
summer.
week.
Hmm.
It's crazy. And I don't, like you don't have to do that many. You can keep
Right.
it very simple.
Absolutely.
But that's where we're at.
Yes. And if you cannot find that, or if you're having a hard time, just remember you can always go to our stand store. It's stand store /ultimate homeschool. And you can find a link to get to the other site as well. And the workshop is going to be accessible on both places. So we look forward to seeing you all. Thank you so much for joining, JoAnn. Super excited.
And just, yeah, I do believe that summer camps are one of the fastest way for educators and homeschoolers to generate income and to build community impact, and then just to create that meaningful experience for kids. So
Yes. Yes,
Come,
yes.
come join me.
Come join us. All right. We'll see you. Happy homeschooling, everyone. Take care.